Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, that will honor to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Akia Wasap. Today's lesson is entitled, For the Lips of a Strange Woman Drop as an Honeycomb. And Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. And as always, our sit downs, our street speaking is for the elect, the remnant, the Israel, the Most High, to use the gospel preach. Shalom. So today we'll be talking about these philosophies that sound good. All right, hence the title, For the Lips of a Strange Woman Drop as an Honeycomb. Now, strange woman is a parable for these strange doctrines. All right, these are the lifestyles, these are the philosophies, these are the thought processes. All right, and the honeycomb represents flattery, things that sound sweet. So one thing that's been taking root is this whole vibration of so-called black men, which we know Israelites, right? Traveling. All right, they're getting out the matrix, which is Babylon the Great. They seeing that the whole dating market has failed. The black woman, the nigger woman is completely through, and they're taking, their efforts to other countries. They're going to South America, Central and South America. All right. They're going to Europe. They're going to Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea. They're pretty much traveling the world, and they noticing that the women in these other places are more feminine, fit, friendly, submissive, cooperative, right? And through their testimonies, through these various videos, they're saying that these women treat black men way better than the women in the States. All right, so you got people like Zoom to Thailand, Richie Mack. You got just recently, yesterday, Black Ram 313. He's currently out there in Colombia, and he's seeing this night and day. Jake is starting to see that, these other, countries, they're accepting Jake. It's not as these other countries is not as bad as America depict them to be, and they're also discovering in South America, Central America, you have the Afro Latinas, you have, so-called black women that have, certain exotic features, just to basically, and simply put it. All right. So, the message to the Akim today, if you stumble across these videos, it's going to sound good. Here it is in Babylon the Great, you beat down, it's hard to get a cool woman, and then when you get a good woman, no matter how you court her, no matter how you, handle the situation, these women, they always end up getting up out of there. You can be a cool dude. You can take them out on dates. You can be the so-called cool, non-hood dude that got standards and morals. And you put, you showing her that you a man and all this other stuff. And these women still get up out of there. So, it may be challenging, but we got to remember that, the Lord set us up to be watchmen. All right. The Lord has given us a role. All right. To giving us a path to walk in here in Babylon the Great. We got a job to do. Now, women and all that stuff, that's gonna come soon. When Jacob's trouble here, all hell gonna break loose. These women is gonna be coming, in droves. But through the spirit, I just want to sound the alarm because this new wave of thinking that Jake is putting out is covering, is enticing. All right. So you want to, watch some of these videos. You know what I mean? I'm gonna actually play a little bit of Black Ram 313, and he out there in Colombia. You see him smiling. He got a grin from ear to ear. But hey, our whole history, when you examine the scripts, Jake has failed for women. That has pretty much been the destruction of the men of our nation, or especially heathen women, going all the way back to the sons of God. All right. which were, which were the Israelites before that, Israel, the title came on the scene. We were known as the sons of God. And they went into the daughters of men. Let me actually start off with that real quick, and then we're gonna play a little bit of that video. I don't want to make this video too long, but I just want to hit the points and get up out of there. Like I said, you can, watch these videos yourself, but don't fall for the okie doke. All right, Esau gonna have, this content right here, this type of content on the algorithms is gonna be high on the how algorithms. It's gonna be easily to access, because this is what will cause the Israelite man to fall. This is Genesis 6:3. It says, and Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So through the sin and iniquity, the Lord started knocking off our days here on the earth. It says, and there were giants in those days. These are, the sons of God that were on a high level, just like you see today, your Michael Jordans, I'm not even into sports like that, but your Michael Jordans, you got your LeBron James, you got all these athletes, entertainers. Those are giants. Those are Israelites that's on a high status, and of course we work taller, back then, but this is not speaking to, specifically about giants and, individuals that are on a high, very tall in stature. This is just talking about Jakes that were very, very great. There were giants in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God, these are the Israelites, these are the descendants of Seth. All right. When you read in the 5th chapter, which is the previous chapter, these are the descendants of Seth. When the sons of God came into the daughters of men, these are the heathen women. All right. And they bare them children. Oh, you know what? Let me actually start up a little bit. Salakia, Akim. Genesis 6:1, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, born unto them, that the sons of God, the Israelites, saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they had chose. So these are the heathen women. And as it says here, they saw that the daughters of men that were fair. Now let's fast forward to now. Jake is seeing these heathen women. They fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. They cater to their man. They cook for their man. They clean for their man. These women characteristics and behavior is way better than what Jake has experienced here in Babylon the Great. The nigga woman, they got liberty, freedom. They got justice. They got their own army. They got a government system that backs them. The nigga woman can be married to you, just up one day, decide not to be with you and take everything that you have, the house, the children, and all that. Here it is, you left with nothing. So Jake is, they're no longer tolerating the nigga woman. All right. And as well as the Latin woman in America too. Bros got stories when dealing with the Latin woman, how they didn't triple cross bros just like the nigga woman. So the Northern Kingdom woman is not excluded from that. They may be a little better to deal with, but they still got them demons on them too. But going back to Genesis 6, in 2, it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, the heathen women, that they were fair. Not only were they beautiful, they were, they feminine, they shame-faced. They ain't got that many bodies on them. And that Western culture hasn't really penetrated these other places throughout the world. Maybe UK, areas like that. But in the UK, it's not as bad as Babylon. But places like Southeast Asia, Central and South America, it's women that are in abundance that are submissive and feminine, so on and so forth. That's what Jake's looking for. So, you can compare what happened in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, to what we see today, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they had. Jake out there going crazy. Jake out there saying they got 2-3 women. It's a women in abundance. They emptying out. They ride every night. And it's just so many women to handle out there. And I will say this as a side note: these Jakes, they in gross darkness now. Now, Black Round 141, I mean 313, he do say things. Shalom to the Akim on the comment board. He do say, certain things like most high willing and all this other stuff. So I would perceive that he watched the videos, you know, but he ain't out there doing the work, and I done came across videos of Jake talking about some adultery, having sex with other men, women. So the Lord is going to jack this up pretty soon. It's a lot of sin and wickedness going on amongst these groups. Like I said, you got Zoom to Thailand, Richie Mack, you got Black Ram 313, you got the Passport Bros. You got all these different movements of Jake going to these other countries and living it up and actually living and moving there, being digital nomads. All right. They're working remotely and they living in these other countries. So let's keep reading here in Genesis 6, it says, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Jake was going off. The Lord was knocking down Jake years. Because when you read a previous chapter, you read about men living at 800, 900, 600 years old. There were giants in the earth in those days. These were Jake's sons of God who were on a high level. Great fighters, great boxers, just like you see today. Great fighters, great boxers, Jakes that are on a high level. It says, and also after that, when the sons of men, when the sons of God, the Israelites at that time, came into the daughters of men, and not only did they go into the women, they actually went into those philosophies and those ways of life. They actually went into the daughters of men. All right. And they bear children to them, the same became mighty men, which were old men of renown, just like today. If an Israelite man have a child with a heathen, although that heathen woman may not, okay, I'll address it like this. A Jake can have a seed with a heathen woman. That seed will be an Israelite because according to our heritage, our custom, in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashim Shai, you are of your father. That child to be mighty. You see certain athletes who have heathen mothers that are very great and renowned. Do your research, all right? It says, and the Most High saw the wickedness of man that was great upon the earth, because you also had the seed of Cain on the scene as well, and wickedness was covering the earth. Now every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So you read the story, and the Lord, ends up, destroying the earth by way of the flood. But the point is, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were comely. And as is written in Ecclesiastes, that which have been is that which shall be, and there is no new thing under the sun. So going back to the title, all right, for the lips of a strange woman drop as honeycomb. So I want to get, I typed in the word strange woman, and we're going to read some of these precepts here. Proverbs 2:6, to deliver thee from the strange woman. These are the strange philosophies. These are the ways of life. Women is likened unto philosophies because a woman is supposed to comfort and nourish a man, nourish a child. Salakia, It says to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger, which flatter with her word. So, this whole philosophy, this whole movement of traveling the country and ultimately living in these other countries, number one, that's a philosophy outside of what we've been taught. All right. We've been taught, all right, if you believe in me, feed my sheep, feed my rams. Feed my sheep, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. All right. We've been taught that in the land of our captivity, we'll be delivered. All right. We've been taught that in the land of our captivity, we will think upon the name of the Lord. All right. We've been taught to go out on the highways and the byways and compel them that they may come in. All right. So we have our doctrine. We have our way of life. All right. That the Lord has paved out for us. So continuing on, Proverbs 2:16, to deliver thee from the strange woman, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we have is supposed to deliver us from getting enticed by these other ways of life. All right. And like I said, through the spirit, I just want to, sound that alarm because this can be very enticing to the Israelite man here in Babylon. All right. It says, from even from the stranger which flattereth with her words. And like I said, this stuff sounds flattering. And matter of fact, let me play a little bit of this.
There's really nothing else to fight for. For the guys who still love to be done, what are you holding on to? What are you fighting for? Tell me, please. I want to know in the chat. For those who want to negotiate with the beater, what are you holding out for? I got a couple more things to say too. Johnny B says, salute Black Round 313 out here doing it big with the Latinas. Hope all is well, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate your generosity. Appreciate everybody's generosity. Salute to that. Salute to that. Genuine trucker Tone. Salute. He said, out here, man. We are out here, me and some more brothers. I don't want to say no name. I see Yoga in the bill.
I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. But like I said earlier, he's out there in Colombia. And I believe this is his first time. And this is basically a culture shock to him, Let me see if we can speed up a little bit.
I'm saying American Black women, because they're just two distinct things. The Colombian Black woman is not like the American Black woman. So I can't even say BW like that. I'm going to have to say, take a page out of the Reluctant Nabi book and say ABW. ABW. Why? Because the Black women here come in so many different shades as well. I mean, different hair texture. You got some with nappy kinky hair. Beautiful. You got some with the wavy hair. Some.
This is the strange woman that flattereth with her lips. So this is a strange doctrine. And the flattery is going into how beautiful these women is, going into how, how these women is receiving. They actually approach you. They're easy to get. You don't need all this game. You don't need all these expensive ass clothes. Since you're an American man, so-called, all right, that's your key in. That makes you a high value man in these other countries. You're American, you're a foreigner. That puts you already at the top 1% of men, so that's flattery. That sounds good, right?
With straighter hair. I'm like, whoa, this is beautiful. I saw something at the clock tower last night that was just so thick and beautiful. Dark-skinned Black Colombian woman, man. And she gave me this look. And Black Ram turned his head. I didn't even want to deal with that. She was selling something. I didn't even want to deal with that. I said, man, I would snap a photo or something. But I've seen some women here that have put the ladies in America to shame. And here's what messed my head up. Right? Anybody who's been to Colombia can tell you this. Everywhere I turned my head, all I saw was beauty. Everywhere I turned my head, beauty.
See, that's that flattery. You go to these countries, just beautiful women everywhere, and the ratio is higher, it's higher. It's more women than it is men in a lot of these countries. All right. And yeah, there is prostitution and things of that sort, in these other countries, which prostitution ain't nothing wrong with that, but for Jake that's been beat down in America, and has found it nearly impossible to get a woman going outside the country, that may be more enticing. All right. But, you brothers, y'all can finish watching this. All right. Let me actually put it in the chat, just to be on the lookout for, because you don't want to, fall for that, man. We done came too far to be falling for these women. And we got examples. We got Adam, we got Solomon, Samson, you understand? We got various men that have failed for women. So let's get a little bit more of these precepts. I see the brother Damawaf lighting it up on the comment board. We're going to get some of those precepts as well, and we're going to close out. So going back to the strange woman, which is these strange philosophies, right? This is Proverbs 5. I'm going to actually go to Proverbs 5 real quick because it's gems being dropped here. It's Proverbs 5:1. It says, pitfalls of immortality. It says, my son, attain unto my wisdom, all right, the truth, and bow thine ear to hear my understanding. This is Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, all right, which if you can receive it, this is Yahweh Shai. This is Yahweh Shai giving us wisdom. All right, my son, attain unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion. We got to be, using discretion. We got to be judging. We got to be understanding the times that we in. It ain't that time to be out there in these other countries. And Apostle Tar just recently did a video, which Lord willing, I'm a touch on. And he said it's not expedient for you Israelite men to be going out the country, because in China, they just locked down 80,000 tourists because of a widespread outbreak. Imagine you going out the country for a few days after camp and you ain't coming back. You out there in a strange land. All right. Don't know what the hell you going on. The laws and all that shit is way different out there in these other countries. So let's continue reading here in Proverbs 5:2, that thou mayest regard discretion and that thy lips may keep understanding. For the lips of a strange woman, these other philosophies, these other doctrines, these other ways of life outside of the truth, drop as in honeycomb. Honeycomb is sweet. It sounds good. It feels good. Oh, let's go out the country. It's so much easier to get women. The cost of living is cheap. The American dollar, it can stretch. It's Jake on there speaking about how they living in nice high-rise apartments for $200, $300, $400 a month. Whereas out here in Babylon the Great, which is America, you spending $2,500 for some bullshit. So that honey is sweet, and her mouth is smoother. Her mouth is smoother than oil. Yeah, you come out here, you got your remote job, you work, all you need is the internet. You can work, from home. Meanwhile, you only spending $1,500, and that's your rent, your transportation, your food, and as you going out and splurging and doing whatever. Why? Because American dollar, it go far in these other countries. So that's an example of honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. Oh, the women is bad. They love you out here. The Thai women, they pretty much pulling on the black man out here, But as it says in the 4th verse, but her end is bitter as wormwood and sharp as a two-edged sword. So these philosophies, it'll end up destroying you. Wormwood is contamination. Sharp as a two-edged sword, it'll cut you. For her feet go down to hell, her steps take on hold on hell. These philosophies will bring you down to a very low condition. Like I said earlier, a lot of these jakes, they wicked. They ain't got the spirit. They ain't got the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They talking about adultery and all that, and the passport bros and the brothers and all that. They don't got the wisdom. They don't know how to operate amongst themselves. All right. They don't have the true brotherhood. So all that shit is going to crumble. They're going to end up being out there in them other countries and them fighting and brawling, and them countries is going to be banning black men from traveling to those countries. Remember, Jake got the curses on him. It says in Deuteronomy 28 that these curses shall be on you wherever thou goest for a sign and for a wonder, roughly paraphrasing. So just because Jake go, leave the matrix, as they call it, the scriptures, the truth, call it Babylon the Great. It's because you left Babylon and you went to these countries, don't mean you're not escaping these curses, and shit, the inflation, the cost of living, that shit is affecting all over the place. So, you fuck around and go to Thailand, and the men raise up, all right, surround your apartment building and come in there and kill you. You don't know how the Lord put a cold spirit on these people to judge Jake. It says, Proverbs 5:5, her feet go down to hell, her steps take on the hell. These philosophies, it just leads you to the pit of destruction, a low level. It says, least thou should ponder the path of life. Her ways are always movable, that thou canst not know them. Yeah, these philosophies be all over the place. It's always something new with these philosophies. Oh, okay, well, you go over here, you do this, and you do that. And, at first it was the dating coaches. You need game. Then it was the Kevin Samuels. Oh, you got to earn this amount of money. You got to have these figures. You got to wear this cologne. You got to wear these suits. You know, you got to invest in yourself. Now it's, oh, go to Thailand, go out of the country, live it up. So the ways of these other doctrines, all right, are movable. They not firm. They not settled. You know, Yahweh Shai said, "He that believeth on me is like a house that its foundation is made upon a rock. You know, a rock, a solid foundation is unmovable. So when the winds, the rain, the different weather, you know, beat up on that house, the house is unmovable. These other philosophies is like a house built on sand. You know, when different things come about, you know, these other philosophies is gonna move and crumble. So let's get a little bit more. Proverbs 6:24, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. These are the philosophies, man, because these are the philosophies. They don't sound good, Akim. Like I said, this sound good. You know, you buy you an $800 ticket to Thailand. All you need is about $500 out there, and you can, and that is stretch. You paying $2 for meals, $5 for dinner, steak. You know, $20 for what you would pay here at Roof Chris or something. You know, you may spend $200 at Roof Chris with the steak and, you know, steak, potatoes, whatever, lamb chops, whatever, and you taking a girl, y'all drinking wine, champagne, whatever. You may spend $250 out there. You know, your bill would be $50 for something like that at a nice restaurant with views. You know, so you can really, you know, show out if you got you a little nice little piece out there with you. You know, but that's all flattery, right? And I'm gonna bring the balance. It says, once again, Proverbs 6:24, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. All right, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is supposed to keep us from falling for these different, you know, doctrines and ways of life, right? It says, Proverbs 7:5, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger with which flattereth with her words. So, you know, it's just reiterating back to back to back to, you know, that how this wisdom that we have, this truth, this light is supposed to keep us from these other philosophies. Now, matter of fact, I mentioned how the truth is likened unto a woman, right? Proverbs 9:1, it says, wisdom hath builded her house, she hath hewn out her seven pillars. She hath killed her beasts, she hath mingled her wine, she hath also furnished her table. So this truth that we have, all right, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, the Holy Spirit, all right, it's like a feast. You know, we're supposed to eat of this. It's also like in a one, like in to a woman, a pure woman. All right, we're supposed to be joined to her. So all these other strange women, we ain't supposed to be dealing with. She hath sent forth her maidens. This is the prophets. She cried upon the highest places of the city, out there on the highways and the byways. Man, the prophets ain't. I mean, yeah, it's some Israelites out there in them other countries, Thailand, South. You know, of course, South Central, South Central and South America. Of course, you know, you got the tribes there. You know, but you know, Jake going to Russia. Jake talking about some, you know, how Ukraine was popping before this war stuff. You know, there's Israelites there, but the truth came out of Babylon. You know, this is the focal point of the destruction. You know, we supposed to be here bringing it out. You know, although you got brothers in different areas, but Babylon the Great, you know, this is the focal point of the Lord's destruction. You know, so you know this truth is going to be cried out in the highest places of the city. You know, not only in your metropolitan areas, but you know the chief place, Babylon. It says, whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanted understanding, she said unto him, come, eat of my bread, drink of the wine which I have mingled. So this is talking about eating this truth up with your mind. All right. Forsake the foolish and live and go in the way of understanding. So this truth prompts us to forsake the foolish, and this is foolish, man. You know, because these jakes don't know the time and season that they in. We in a time where the Lord finna turn up the heat. You know, it's going to be all kind of sedition, anarchy, Esau coming down with great wrath, the love of many waxing cold. You know, cannibalism, economic collapse. You ain't gonna be able to use the dollar. Yeah, you saying the dollar is stretched in these other countries, but what about when the dollar collapse? And in order to for you to buy and sell, you got to have an implantable technology. All right, what about that? You know, and the scriptures speak about man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Second Ezra 15. So, you know, you may be in these countries, but something could happen and you won't be able to come back. You understand? So that's going into discerning the times that we in. All right. Now let's check out the comment board. Shalom to the Akim on the comment board. Brother Damawaf lit it up. Isaiah 3 and 12. As for my people, this is talking about the Israelites. Children are their oppressors, all right, and women rule over them. All right, Esau, which is like a child, because childs don't, you know, typically accept instructions. You know, you kind of got to whoop their ass. You know, but this is also talking about actual children as well. So here in the system, Esau has, you know, configured it in a way where children are oppressing the Israelite man and woman is ruling over them. You know, child support, you know, your child calling you, asking you, oh, what's up, my birthday? Oh, this and that, Christmas, this and that. You know, when women ruling over them. You know, Esau put the women on a high level, and Jake think that in order to achieve a comfortable lifestyle, he got to please his woman, please the kids and all that. The truth have freed us from that. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We know that the chief thing is the fear of the Lord and keep his commandments. Everything else come after that, you know. Oh, my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err. These different religious leaders, these different entertainers, you know, now they got the influencers, you know, these people that's outside of the truth, that's in a high position, they're causing Jake to err and to destroy the way of thy paths, because these other philosophies, they're not talking about the Most High. They ain't calling on the names of the Lord. You know, they love the world and the things that are in the world. So they're going to get destroyed right along with it. So let's see what else the brother got. Proverbs 22, 23, and 26. My son, give me thy heart and let thy eyes observe my ways. So you got to get all into this truth, man. You gotta make that sacrifice and give your mind to this. Verse 27. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman a narrow pit. Yeah, so if you fall into these different philosophies and lifestyles, it's a deep ditch. It'll be hard for you to get out of it. You know, a deep ditch, you know, it's very challenging for you to, you know, crawl up out of that thing. You know, a narrow pit is a position of difficulty, you know? So that's how these other philosophies have had you out here. Let's see. Brother said, like Elder Apostle Bar said, the biggest simps are in Israel. Yeah, because Jake over here is super thirsty in the States. In Babylon, Jake is off the hook with the thirst. And it's because of how the scene, how the scene is set up. You know, the women's liberty, women's freedom, you know, the government system, the police, all this other stuff have made women have made a woman surpass a man. So men now are very thirsty, you know. They're simps, they thirsty, they simple, you know, and they do anything to get a woman that's ran through, because the Israelite men have been deprived here, you know. 1 Corinthians 7:29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. Yeah, because you're supposed to give your energy to this truth. Even though if you have a woman, you have a wife, you got to be as though you ain't had none, because you have a mission. You have a path of life that you're walking down. All right. And at the end of the day, the Lord is going to give us everything our heart's desires. We're going to actually have virgins, in the kingdom. But even leading up to the kingdom, the Lord going to flood the men of the Lord with wives. And we're going to get that after we get these precepts from Damawat. All right, verse 30. It says, and they that weep as though they weep not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as thou as though they possess not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world pass away. Yeah, you use the world. There's certain things that you do. We're not just locked up in the house, reading Bible verses all night. So there are certain things that we go out in the world and do, but we're circumspect, we're vigilant, we discerning the times and season that we're in. We applying the knowledge, we're applying the wisdom, so on and so forth. All right. So we're not getting caught up out here, Another thing I had, Apostle Tahar, I'm gonna just play this real quick.
Tourists are now locked down in China. Not the citizens, but people that are not citizens of China. You see there, CNN, COVID lockdown strands 80,000 tourists in China, China's Hawaii. The scriptures speak about being circumspect, knowing what times you're living in. So it behooves you as Israelites not to be, if you're in the States and if you're in Babylon, you really have no business leaving the country, because anything can happen.
And if you believe in the truth, right? You take our elders and apostles of great millstone to be the prophets of the Lord. That's a warning. All right. That's the Lord giving the warning. He said, if you're a prophet, if you're a man in Babylon the Great, you have no business going out of the country. All right. Just like Yahushua, when he was on the scene giving warning about, 70 AD, he was giving those warnings out to let them know what to do and what not to do when they see the Romans coming down. Various prophets was giving warnings, man. Let's see. It's a precept I want to get here. Baruch chapter 2, verse 24. But we would not hearken unto thy voice. The Lord speaks through the prophets to serve the king of Babylon. Therefore hast thou made good the words that thou spakest by the servants, the prophets, namely, that the bones of our kings and the bones of our fathers should be taken out of their places. Now, the point I want to get is how we would not hearken unto thy voice, So the Lord, he speaks through the prophets, He multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So the Lord got a close relationship with the prophets. The Lord's going to be putting the spirit on the men, a kind of all through the spirit, bro. Putting the spirit on his men to say particular things. And Apostle Hart saying, we shouldn't be traveling, out the country. So I'm gonna bring the balance real quick in Isaiah 4, because we're gonna get women Akim, Isaiah 4:1, or Yeshaya in the Hebrew. He was a prophet during the time of the kings. He was a King Hezekiah advisor. We read about Hezekiah, he was gonna die. All right, he prayed unto the Lord, and the Lord increased his lifespan by 15 years. Isaiah made him some figs. All right, you read about that history. Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. That day is talking about the time that we're approaching, Jacob's trouble. We ain't gonna have to fly to Thailand. We ain't gonna have to go way to South America. These women is gonna be coming where we at, and they're gonna be the Lord gonna deck us out. The Lord gonna give us, the women that we want, man. All right. only let us be called by thy name, meaning they want to be our wives. They want us to go into them. All right, because that'll enable a hedge of protection for these women. Because if we are of the elect and these are our women and they believe in, they believe and submit to what we got going on, then they could be of the elect. They get saved if they believe. It says, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be exceeding comely for them that are escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, the elect, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. So this is talking about the elect men. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning, through the Lord judging and visiting this place. And Yahweh will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day and a shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. In the kingdom, we're going to have chariots hovering around us. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a cover from the storm and from the rain. So the Lord will enable that protection for us. We're going to be taken care of. But the point is, the Lord going to give us women. And 7 is completion. It could be 30, it could be 20. However many women the Most High wants you to have. All right. Isaiah 13:12, Brother Damawaf, GMS in his likeness. I will make a man more precious than fine gold. That's talking about the Israelite man in the truth. Even a man than the golden wedge or Ophir. So very high, the real high value man is the prophets. It says in Isaiah 32:2, a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in the weary land. So a man, the Lord is going to be where it's at. All right. Lord is going to give men certain power to able to do particular things. All right. And we're going to be able to protect the women that we got, that the Lord going to bless us with. So we're going to be a hiding place from the wind, the destruction, a covert from the tempest, a covering. As rivers of water in the dry place, we're going to have an abundance of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in this dry place, which is Babylon, as a shadow of a great rock in the weary land. This weary land is going to be Babylon when all hell break loose. All right, it's going to be a dry place when all hell break loose. It's going to be as a tempest. It's going to be as a wind out here, meaning destruction. When you read Jeremiah 50, it speaks about how this place is being turned into a desolate wilderness, man. So a man of the Lord is going to be protection leading up to the ultimate destruction in Babylon the Great. So these women is going to flock and flood to a man. And we ain't taking any old woman in those days either. So I'm going to leave it at that. We already at 43 minutes. I didn't really want to let it ride out that long, but it was the spirit and the water for the precepts that always adds value to the lessons when we're bringing out this truth through the spirit. So once again, for the lips of a strange woman drop as honeycomb. All right. We didn't came too far to be, falling for these other philosophies, chasing and running after these damn women. The Lord got women for us, virgins. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. Only give all praises going and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone and taught us his truth. Shalom.